Welcome to the 3CoSports podcast with your three co-hosts, Luke, Alex, and Angel.
Welcome everyone to the podcast that entertains you, informs you, and helps you win. Gentlemen, how's everyone doing today?
Doing good. Welcome back to episode 3, everybody. We have a great show for you today. Thank you for listening. Alex, how are you doing?
I've been better, but I'm chilling. I'm happy to be here talking to my boys.
I can't wait to talk about why you could be doing better. That's gonna be a good time for sure.
It's gonna be riveting.
Is that a topic?
That's a topic. That's my story for the day. That's story time.
Oh, you're right. Sorry about that.
Now maybe we should start a new segment. How is Alex Krapetsky doing today, and why? I feel like the audience would really love that.
We can get like a theme song for it.
How is Alex doing? Oh no, I just sang for the podcast. Oh, that'll bring.
How is Alex doing today?
Ooh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
I'll hit the vocals. I don't care.
I didn't realize Luke had the vocals.
No, I'll sing, dude. We can do a karaoke episode one day.
Oh,
I cannot. Disclaimer: I cannot actually sing, but I will try and make myself look stupid without warning.
I'll just you can do the vocals. I'll do the chorus. Alex and I can do the chorus. How's that sound?
Oh no, we can make like an acapella group. Like who wants to be like the beatboxer? Who wants to be like the aggressive beatboxer?
Oh, I feel like Alex would be perfect for that role.
I don't know. I feel like we could pull off the acapella with. I think we all have like bass voices. Like I don't know if it works.
Okay, well then maybe we can hire like a percussionist for beatboxing. Like outside, we can like outside source a beatboxer, and then Alex can be the guy who like doesn't sing that much, but every once in a while he just like comes in and hits this like crazy high note.
I love it.
How do you feel about that, Alex?
I mean, I'd have to do some throat stretching or whatever those like soprano guys
throat
do.
Stretching.
Oh my.
Dude, I saw on TikTok they sell like pills at gas stations that like loosen your vocal cords.
That's a thing?
Yeah, and like makes you sing better. I saw it on TikTok one time.
That's kind of wild.
I feel like it's kind of scary, though. Like, I would never trust a pill from a gas station. Life tip, kids, don't get pills from gas stations.
We're 2 minutes into the podcast, and we've already decided to start an a cappella group. Alex is talking about his throat stretching exercises, and we've informed the audience not to trust pills from gas stations. I feel like we're off to a great start.
It's a good start, yeah.
Yeah, you know what other company is off to a great start?
Who,
Angel?
Do you want to know? Do you really want to know?
Tell me. I'm dying to know.
Monkey Knife Fight. Have you heard of him?
Yes, I have.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, for those of you that haven't heard of them, Monkey Knife Fight is a DFS website / upcoming app in which you can play daily fantasy sports games for football, basketball, baseball, hockey, NASCAR, and more. My favorite part about Monkey Knife Fight is that they support the players. For example, they recently partnered with the NFLPA in order to give players what I would call rights over their own fantasy production. If you want to check out Monkey Knife Fight, you can go to monkeyknifefight.com and use the promo code 3CO, that's the number 3CO, to double your initial deposit up to $50. Once again, that is monkeyknifefight.com. Use promo code 3CO, that is number 3CO, to double your initial deposit up to $50. Monkey Knife Fight, the best MKFing DFS app on the planet.
There it is. There's the dad joke. It's returned.
The dad. I need another MKFing pun. I feel like that one will run dry after a couple of episodes. So
you can work on that.
I'll workshop it.
Yeah, you will. It'll be all good.
It will be all good. You know who else is feeling good? The Colts.
They are.
The Colts are feeling really good right now. So how are we feeling about the Colts and Eagles trade this week, guys? It was a big one.
Yeah. Luke, do you want to take this first, or do you want me to take this?
Sure, I can.
Right.
I can take it. So Carson Wentz just got traded to the Colts last weekend. It was unfortunate because the podcast released that we recorded the day before, the same day the news broke, so we did not get to talk about it the same day the podcast came out. But that's what happens sometimes, but it's all right. So Carson Wentz got traded to the Colts for a second-round pick and a third-round pick that can become a first-round pick, which is a very interesting trade stipulation that we were talking about before we started recording today. Is we don't know if that's ever happened before in the NFL. Is a trade that involved a draft pick that could become something higher. which is really interesting. We were thinking that maybe it's happened in like a later round draft pick, but nothing like the first or third round draft capital, which is really interesting. We're going to go through and give some like letter grades and stuff and some winners and losers of the trade. So for me, I think the Colts are the winner of the trade. I think they got a pretty affordable price to pay for a potential franchise quarterback if he has a bounce back year in Indianapolis, which I think he will. I will give the Colts an A for this trade. I think they did not like blow the roof off for like an A+, but they had a pretty solid deal. I think they got a good value in draft picks because the picks aren't that early either. They're probably going to be on the later side of things anyway. And I think they have a potential to find their franchise guy. I think it's a great move for an NFL franchise to keep transitioning the quarterback room and to not really struggle and have to rebuild fully. So the Colts are doing a great job there by reloading the team rather than rebuilding or retooling. So I love that trade for them. On the Eagles side, I think they did a pretty good job of making this trade somewhat worth their while not really having like the best scenario because Carson Wentz like wanted out kind of, and the franchise was like looking to deal him. So obviously they're not going to get like premium return for a guy who had a down season last year. So I think a second round draft pick and a third, if it stays a third, is a great. A second round draft pick and potentially a first for the Eagles is a great investment on their end because they could potentially get a first round draft pick and a second round draft pick for a guy who they were openly shopping, which I think could be a pretty solid return given the circumstances. So yeah, I like the trade overall for both sides. I think it was a pretty fair deal, but I do like the Colts side a good bit just because the upside is there. So, Alex, how are you feeling about it?
I feel the same. I think the Colts, they got a good reclamation project candidate for a pretty low price. If they do end up giving up that first for Wentz, it's probably a good thing because it means he's healthy and hopefully they're in the playoffs because of it. The Eagles did sell him a little bit short, I thought, but I'm expecting them to get the first out of that. So I think in the end, it'll end up being a pretty good deal for them. The cap hit that they ended up getting from that is like disgusting. If I was an Eagles fan, I would be just like sick to my stomach, but I like the potential of the Eagles if Jalen Hurts is as good as he was in the final half. Or how many games did he play last year? Like
4 games. Four games. That cap hit, Alex, that I saw on Twitter, that was the largest dead cap hit in NFL history by a single player.
That's just
crazy.
I'm depressed now. That gave me depression. Anyway, where was I? I'm too sad to think right now.
You're talking about Jalen Hurts playing well in the backstretch.
Right. There we go. Thank you, Luke, for keeping me in check.
Shout out to Luke.
So yeah, some winners I have for this trade. I mean, Wentz is a winner. He goes to a good team, good offensive line. Their receivers are okay. Like they'll probably do something to improve that, I hope. Frank Reich, a winner for getting a pretty good quarterback who he's familiar with. Jalen Hurts, of course, a winner for getting the starting role, essentially. Or we think he's going to be the starter.
Hopefully.
And a couple of losers that I have. I mean, the Eagles, because they had their backs against the wall and they had to make a trade that was like, it wasn't really ever going to be a win for them. I actually have Jalen Rhaegar as a loser here because I don't really like his fit with Jalen Hurts. It reminds me a lot of Lamar Jackson with Marquise Brown, which we've seen has been kind of like not really working out. Jalen Hurts is a lot more accurate than Lamar Jackson, but I feel like the same issue could happen between the two of them. And I'm not really sure if this is a good thing for Dallas Goedert or Zach Ertz if he's still on the team, because Wentz really liked throwing to the tight ends. I don't know if that was the scheme or if that was his personal preference, but I'm not sure if Hurts will be doing the same. I didn't exactly look through his numbers throwing to tight ends, and even if he threw a lot to them, it was a weird situation because the receivers for the Eagles last year were just demolished by the end of the season.
Big doo-doo.
So it's unclear.
Is so bad.
Yeah, they got some work to do there. But yeah, that's my my analysis of this trade. How about you, Angel? What do you think?
I have to say that's some good analysis of the trade. I'm going to go ahead and say that the biggest winners of this deal are actually the Eagles.
Whoa.
I know, it's a little shocking, but here's my reasoning, right? The Eagles were in a no-win scenario, or so we thought. Carson Wentz wanted out. It's not like he's been lighting the world on fire at all. over the past couple of seasons. In fact, he was, as Luke would call it, doo-doo last season for the most part. So the fact that they got a second-round draft pick and a potential first-round draft pick for him, I think, is a big win. But more than that, I think it's the fact that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles get to enter the season distraction-free. If Carson Wentz was still on the roster, who knows what could have happened. Jalen Hurts might have lost his confidence, even if he started. Carson Wentz probably would have started, and they would have completely demolished his confidence. And I just think that the Eagles, as an organization, are going to go in. They have a plan now. They see a future with Jalen Hurts, and they have 3 years to see whether or not he's the answer at quarterback. So I think that the Eagles are winners in this trade. Obviously, the Colts are too. But I really do like what the Eagles did and what they got out of this deal.
I like that. I like that breakdown. I do agree. I think it's a pretty fair trade, and the upside is definitely there for the Eagles. One thing that you brought up, I think is a good point, is if Carson Wentz came back this season and played poorly again, I highly doubt that a team would pay as much as the Colts did this offseason for him. If they saw more suckage, I doubt that they would play. They would pay that much because that's what it was. It was suckage. He was pretty terrible. So with that being said, I'll do a little bit of a transition here. So Teddy Bridgewater unfollowed the Panthers on social media with all these rumors about Deshaun Watson to Carolina recently. What do you think What do you think you guys think his trade value is for like draft pick wise for Teddy Bridgewater in the NFL right now?
Well, Teddy Bridgewater has been suckish for most of his career.
Whoa.
I'm kidding. I just really wanted to use the word again.
My God.
Okay, before I answer that, can I just say how much I love the fact that he unfollowed the Panthers on all social medias? Why? I love it when athletes do that. It's such a petty move.
Yeah, it's so petty.
It's so
I feel like it's a way for athletes to like let the public know what's happening without like coming out and saying like, "Hey, I hate you guys."
It's just like it reminds me of those follow trains where you follow people and then they don't follow you back. So you go back and you're like, well, I'm gonna unfollow you now. Unfollow. You know, yeah. It's just I love it. It's my favorite part about this whole ordeal.
You like the 13-year-old girl savagery?
Oh, I love the 13-year-old girl savagery. Perfect. But talking about the actual question that was posed, I feel like his value is right at a third rounder. He definitely hasn't been a bad quarterback throughout his career. He's actually been pretty, average. He never lights the world on fire, but his comeback story was inspirational. He is a good transition quarterback for a team that's looking to have a 1-year stopgap and potentially, compete. I feel like the Texans would make sense for him if he were to be traded. I feel like that's exactly the type of quarterback the Texans need. And I don't think anyone would have to break the bank for him. If the Patriots are into that, sure. Go ahead. Both are potentially good fits, but I don't see any way where the Panthers get anything more than a third-round draft pick for him. How do you feel about that, Alex?
Yeah, I agree. I'd say his value is somewhere between a late second and like a mid third. He is what he is. Like he's got pretty good mobility, especially for a guy whose leg like exploded. Like I was surprised how well he moved around last year. He's accurate. He doesn't try to like really push the ball downfield, which makes his accuracy numbers pretty good. Like he completed 69% of his passes last year, which is,
nice.
That's a nice number. Nice number.
Nice.
Yeah, he gets the ball where it has to go. But at the end of the day, he's just a very shiny Band-Aid. He's like Case Keenum with slightly better mobility and
a
two
very
gloves.
Shiny Band-Aid. That's perfect.
But yeah,
he's he's like the best bridge quarterback of all time.
That's why his name's Bridgewater. He's Teddy Bridge quarterback.
Oh my God, that's perfect. I think we have our first player nickname on the show, guys. Teddy Bridge quarterback. It's perfect.
I feel like we got to trademark that.
I think we did too.
It. But yeah, let me wrap this thought up. I think the Patriots actually make a lot of sense for him because the Patriots they love buying low on quarterbacks. They were reportedly interested in him last year. I don't know if he was interested in going to the Patriots. I never really heard anything about that. But I think it makes a lot of sense if they want to part with like a mid-round pick because I do believe they're getting a third-round supplemental pick for Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay, so they could just flip that for Teddy if he doesn't get traded to the Texans, which I think he will. But that's where I'm at. What about you, Luke?
Yeah, I agree. I think Teddy Bridgewater, if I were the Panthers, I would be asking for a second-round draft pick, but I don't think you would get that necessarily. I think a third-round draft pick is more what teams would pay for him. I don't really think the Patriots should try to go after Teddy. I mean, I'm more of a believer for modern-day NFL teams. If you need to rebuild, I think you need to tear it down to the ground and reload from there. Like, I think the perfect modern-day rebuilding example is the Miami Dolphins. They tore it to the ground. And then within 2 years or a year, they went 10-6, and they had the potential to do even more next season. I think they did a perfect job of rebuilding that team. That's what you need to do. You need to sell your players, your good ones, for as many draft picks as you can get your hands on, get a good head coach, and then just go from there. And that's what I think. I mean, the Patriots have a good head coach, but I think they need to do a little bit more of a rebuild, because that receiving core is garbage. I don't care if you put the second coming of Jesus Christ as quarterback on the New England Patriots. They don't have any wide receivers. Like, their receiving core is just bad. I don't know. Like, I feel like they need some targets before they go out and sign a guy or trade for a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, who has an expensive contract, for him to throw to the same bums that Tom Brady struggled with 2 years ago.
Bums.
They are bums, dude. The receiving core is terrible. I think that you can argue that the receiving core is one of the worst in the NFL, if not the worst.
You're saying you're not in on Jacoby Myers?
I actually did like Jacoby Myers quite a bit this season.
Jacoby Myers was great.
I actually did like Jacoby. N'Keal Harry ended up being a bust, which made me sad because I thought he was going to be really good coming out. I think, Alex, I think you said you disagreed about that coming out. I think you said you had A.J. Brown as your number one.
Yeah, I definitely liked A.J. Brown more than N'Keal. But I don't know if I'm ready to give up on N'Keal quite yet, because the quarterback play was just so bad last year. That's how was he supposed to do well?
Yeah, I'm not fully out either. It seems like what I've been seeing out of beat reporters and stuff from New England is that he has a lot of I don't really know how to describe. He has he doesn't have a great work ethic and stuff like that. He has a bit of a personality issue as far as becoming a better player, which is unfortunate. But I'm definitely not all the way out on N'Keal. I think he can be good, but it's not my favorite.
Give him Jameis Winston, he might just get over 1,000 yards, to be honest.
Dude, Jameis should be starting for the Saints next year, but that's a topic for another time.
Oh, he absolutely should. But you know what's the topic for today? The here, the now? I really want to talk about some rookie running backs. From last season, not upcoming. The
2020 class running backs.
Yeah,
I guess that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, maybe we could do that for our next episode.
That's an idea.
Maybe.
What a thought.
What a thought.
But yeah, guys, so why don't we take a few minutes and reflect on the 2020 rookie running back class? It was an interesting class. I think in some respects,
I think it was a great class, top to bottom.
Yeah, I think in some respects, probably the best running back class we've seen in a very long time.
I got 2017 to argue.
Yeah, that one that had Aaron Jones and all of them, and it was insane. This one's really good, though, especially for fantasy. Yeah. I think this one has crazy fantasy potential.
It's a close one, sure.
Top to bottom, the top 8 running backs from 2020 from that rookie running back class are pretty solid, and you can make arguments for all of them as future RB1s, which is really interesting. Starting with Clyde Edwards-Elaire. Now, I'm very curious to see how you guys feel about him, because I am not very high on him. I wasn't very high on him last year. I'm not very high on him going forward. If there was one word I could use to describe him, given his hype, it would be disappointment. And I think I'm justified in saying that, because he finished number 22 among running backs in standard, half PPR, and full PPR leagues.
That's kind of impressive, actually.
Right? Yeah, that's
impressive.
Yeah, no, I know. It was pretty funny. But he finished number 22 despite having an opportunity share of 12. He was ranked 12th, and that's via Player Profiler. So it seems to me like he got opportunities. He had the potential to be an RB1, but he just couldn't take advantage of them. And the Chiefs eventually, I wouldn't say they lost confidence in him, but they realized that for this season at least, they might be better suited going to other options at running back. Damian Williams wasn't even there, and Darrell Williams got some play in that backfield. So I wasn't too high on CEH going into the season. Like I said, I'm not too high going into next season as well. I see him more like as an RB 15 to 18, which wouldn't be bad, but it wouldn't justify the 101 that people were spending in rookie drafts and, the price that was being paid in redraft leagues as well. So how do you guys feel
That's
about it?
fair. Well, I'll take it from here. I'm looking at some stats right now for Clyde because I still like Clyde quite a bit. I think that people are down on him just because he didn't live up to the hype, but I still think he's a very good fantasy running back. And people just need to look past the gross overall view because he was not bad at all if you actually look at his games. He was a very solid guy. Here are his week-to-week finishes, as far not RB whatever, but points. He had 22, 11, 18, 13, 11, 23, 14, 4, 11, 22, 4, then he got hurt, 13, 10, and then he was hurt again. So he only played in 13 games this season. If he played in every game this season, I'm very confident he would have finished as a minimum of a top 15 guy, and probably as a probably top 12. I think he would have finished as an RB1 if he played every game this season. He also barely scored any touchdowns this year, and I think he's due for positive touchdown regression because he only had 5 touchdowns the entire season this year, and arguably the most high-powered offense in the NFL. There's no way that he scores less than 5 touchdowns next season. He has to get at least 8, in my opinion. And I think I don't think Le'Veon Bell is going to come back. I feel like he's more of a rental, and he didn't really do anything anyway. I think it's going to be more of his backfield next season, and I feel like hopefully they're going to find a way to unleash him more in the passing game and give him more targets as well because he's a very capable receiving back. And I just think that Clyde can be very good. I definitely am not out on him. I believe I have him around RB12 in my Dynasty rankings right now. I still like him quite a bit. He's only 21. I mean, he really is not bad at all. The only issue is, like you said, he just let people down for fantasy because he was invested in so heavily. But I do think that Clyde was not bad at all as far as what you actually got on a week-to-week basis as a fantasy running back. He was a very consistent week-to-week player. He just didn't boom like everyone thought he was going to, which is a bit disappointing, obviously. I like him, though. I'm definitely in on Clyde still. I don't think he's as bad as people think he is.
You make a good point when it comes to the targets. He really didn't get that many, and I would have to go back and really look at the tape to see why, but they really just unleashed Mahomes this year, But it was surprising that he got such few targets.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at one more stat. I want to see where he ranked as a points per game running back last season. Let me see here.
I can go ahead and do a cheap plug for Player Profiler while you do that. Because that's where I find most of my stats, and it is a really good site. Alex, have you ever used it?
Oh, Player Profiler? Yeah, I've used that. I think at least once I've used that.
No, it's definitely my favorite website for all stats, and I really like how you can go year to year and see what the trajectory is, while also having their combine numbers at the top of the screen. I don't know. It's such a...
Okay, well, that's interesting. Sorry to interrupt your quick plug, Angel, but Clyde actually ended up at RB 20-something for points per game, which is not great. 10.8 points per game. But he did... I think the knock against him, though, still is that he didn't, he kind of disappointed, but he only played 13 games. To put it in perspective, I feel like... Okay, guys, how much higher are you on Deandre Swift than Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Let's just say that for a second.
I like Deandre significantly more, but I really like DeAndre Swift, and we'll talk about him more later because I
do too. I also really like DeAndre Swift, but for comparison, he only scored 3.8 more fantasy points than Clyde this season as a whole, playing the same amount of games. They both played 13 games. Swift only scored 3.8 fantasy points more than him, and he averaged only 0.3 points more per game than him, 11.1 to 10.8. So they pretty much had an identical fantasy season. And everyone is all over DeAndre Swift, but no one really likes Clyde Edwards-Helaire right now. Just to put it into perspective, he really isn't as bad as everyone thinks he is.
Right. Alrighty. Is it my turn to talk about Clyde?
I think we can give it to you.
All right. I think
we can.
I think we can.
I'll keep him brief so we have time to talk about everybody else. But
sure.
I feel like his stock is trending down slightly because people are no, that guy wasn't that good as a rookie. But I think he's a good buy low because that offense is going to just feed him fantasy points once he figures it out. people expected there to be a learning curve with like the weird COVID like off season with him. Like no people thought that it was going to be Damian Williams, like his backfield for most of the season until he opted out. So I was pleasantly surprised by how Clyde played. He's a good receiver. He caught 36 passes. Like he showed good chops in that department. And I think that bodes well for his upside in PPR for sure. The one thing that really stood out to me with his tape is like he struggled hard to like push the pile. Like he looked much less like adept at like pushing through like up the middle and just like grinding between the 20s. Like I thought he would be more equipped to do that based on what I saw from him at LSU, but he was still like a pretty elusive and dynamic back. Like he averaged 23.4 yards created per game, which is that's a good stat to figure out like if a guy's doing shit out there. That was the 14th best mark in the league among running backs. And yeah, I'm high on him. I'm not as high as I was going into the season, but I still think that offense is just going to make it work for him eventually.
Definitely fair. Yeah.
And how do you feel about Jonathan Taylor?
Oh, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor my thoughts on Jonathan Taylor are interesting because I liked him going to the year. I was like, okay, he's not a great pass catcher, but the Colts he's gonna be fine for them. And people gave up on him so quickly.
It was wild.
And those same people came back around.
He looked bad though. He did look really bad. Like
he looked bad, but he's a rookie. Like you're gonna give up on a guy 8 games into his career. Like the same people who wrote him off in the middle of the season came back around to be like, this guy's the running back 1 in Dynasty.
Yeah,
it's like
crazy.
The truth is somewhere in between because it's like he's a good running back. He's a very good like up the middle guy. They only used him like under center on 53% of his runs, which is like that seems like a very low number for a guy who at Wisconsin literally just ran up the middle every time. Like it seemed like they just didn't figure out how to use him until the end of the year, and then he popped off. So yeah, like I like Jonathan Taylor a lot. I don't know if he's like the best running back from this class, but I liked what I saw from him, and I like what to expect from him going forward. I feel like he'll be really good.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with that.
Yeah.
So taking that, I'm gonna make some counterpoints. I love Jonathan Taylor. For the record, he's my Dynasty RB5 right now, I think. Let me just make some counterpoints though, as to I'm not like on board that Jonathan Taylor is the Dynasty RB1 train. Okay. Jonathan Taylor is a really good running back, and that offensive line is fantastic, and they have a great offense and a great head coach, and they're going to be really good for fantasy next year. But here's the reason why every time I see someone saying that he's like the RB1 in Dynasty, based off the backstretch of this season, I roll my eyes into the back of my skull. It's because the last 5 weeks of the season, okay, they played how many? Let's see. They played 3 of the 5 bottom 5 rushing defenses against fantasy running backs in the NFL. They played Oakland, Jacksonville, and Houston. And they played Houston 2 times in the last few weeks of the season, Jacksonville and Las Vegas. So 4 of the last 5 games of the season where Jonathan Taylor went off were against bottom 5 rushing defenses against fantasy running backs. Okay, so he had 19.5 against Houston, one of the worst. Vegas, one of the worst. He had 28.5 against Houston. One of the worst. He had 15.5 against the Steelers, who's a pretty good defense. They had 19.4. That was a good one. And then against Jacksonville, who was like the worst rushing defense against fantasy running backs, he got 37 fantasy points. So he's an absolute stud. I'm not saying that he's bad at all. He did well when he was given opportunity, which he's supposed to do. That's not supposed to be a knack. But he did it against terrible rushing defenses. This is the only thing that turns me off to him a little bit. But with all that being said, Jonathan Taylor is an absolute beast, and he's going to be an RB1 for many years to come. So don't fade him at all. I'm just saying rein in your takes a little bit on him sometimes because he's not going to be the RB1 next season. I don't think it's possible. I mean, it is possible, but I don't think it's likely. Like I think he's going to be like a top 10 guy for sure, though. So definitely like Jonathan Taylor going forward. I just thought I'd provide some stats on the back half because that's what everyone talks about. How do you feel about him, Angel?
He was my favorite rookie running back coming out of the class. I watched some Wisconsin games last year, and he was such a strong physical back. And honestly, that's the type of back that I defer to in fantasy football. So I really liked his fit with the Colts. Much like Alex, I was a little surprised at the low usage and when it came to under center runs, which makes me think that might be an area of focus for them next year. They might give him a little bit more run there. And the fact that he was the number 6 running back in PPR by the end of the year, despite the shortage of work, and B, the suckish that was going on early on the season. I love that word. I'm going to keep using it. Tells me that he found his stride. You could tell in the beginning of the year that his vision was off. He wasn't seeing the holes like he was back in the college days. And by the end, he was hitting them with authority. So
he didn't seem confident.
He did not seem confident. I'm sure the pandemic played a role in that. And losing most offseason programs definitely played a role. I feel like it played a role with most of these rookie running backs, which is why some of them just didn't get that much shine in the beginning of the season, with like one notable exception. But I am still really high on him. He's actually not the running back that I'm most excited about going into next season. He's not even the second most exciting running back for me.
Wait. You have him as your RB3 next year?
No. In terms of like this rookie class, he's the running back that I'm like, he'd rank third in running backs that I'm excited about from this class. But I am really excited about this class, But that leads into the running back that I'm second most excited for next season, and that is Deandre Swift.
Yeah, I love Deandre Swift.
He's a stud, man. He's such a stud. And even Adrian Peterson was like, why am I playing over this guy? This guy is so much better than I am. Like, what is going on? And if Adrian Peterson all day is saying that, then you have a special talent on your hands. I'm very excited by the fact that the new head coach sees him as a 3-down workhorse because he is one, So the fact that the coach sees it makes me happy because he'll finally get to do what he should have been doing all of this season. I mean, his production premium for this year ranked number 7 in the league, and his dominator rating ranked 16th in the league. And while I like those stats, the stat that I love the most is his breakaway run rate, which was 5.3%, which ranked 13th in the league, meaning that when he got the ball, he was a threat to go long anytime. So I'm really excited about Deandre Swift. The one thing that has me hesitant on him and keeps me from giving him the RB1 status from this class is the fact that they might be losing some outside weapons. They might be losing Kenny Golladay. They might be losing Marvin. They will lose Marvin Jones because Marvin Jones said that he wants to make money and earn a contract, and he probably can't do either of those things in Detroit. So that's the one thing that keeps me from saying Deandre Swift is my RB4 next year, because he's got all the talent in the world. And as we learned this season, sometimes it is talent over situation. But that would be my take on Swift. I don't know. How do you feel about him, Alex? I know you're a big fan of Swift too.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely, I'd say he's the most like valued running back from this class right now because people are all up on him. They've crowned him the next Alvin Kamara. At least from the people I'm seeing, like I keep seeing him as like a top 10 like pick in dynasty leagues, which I'm like, okay, like
whoa,
sure.
top 10 startup?
Top 10? Whoa.
Yeah, like I've seen him up there. I'm like, what? Whoa.
Is he going over JT?
I think JT's up there too. I don't know if he's above him or not, but those guys I've seen their names in the top 10 and I'm like, whoa. But like there's a good reason for that, I'd say, because he was an elite receiver out of the backfield as a rookie. He caught 46 passes. He was averaging 1.1 fantasy points per opportunity, which was the 4th best mark in the league. And yeah, he was just the most fun back for me to watch, honestly, because I was like, the Lions outside of this guy are like one of the most miserable offenses I've ever seen. Like it was so painful to like tune into a Lions game just to watch Deandre Swift, but it was always worth it because I was like, wow, he's just incredible. He just looked great. Like, I don't know. It was very like Alvin Kamara 2017 vibes for me. Like he was just jumping around the field, like cutting, jumping over guys at points, just looking great on a terrible offense that was like not playing to win by the end of the season. He only had a 49.1% snap share too. So like if that goes up and if the offense improves from how terrible it was last year, like there's no telling how good he could be this season.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in now. So I really like DeAndre Swift as well. I think that, like you guys were saying about them possibly losing outside targets at wide receiver, they likely will lose at least one. I think it's going to be great for Swift. I think that I've seen multiple reports from beat writers and even some people on the coaching staff saying, hey, he's going to be a three down guy. He has a 3-down back skill set. And they want to get him out in space like Alvin Kamara, flex him out to the wide receiver position and get him manufactured touches in space. So I think it's easily possible we could see him hit like 80 receptions next season. Like, he's going to be a target monster. And then with all that being said, like, he has a true RB1 ceiling. Like, the RB, like, that's his ceiling is like the RB1. Like, he could easily just go nuclear and just like tear up the NFL. Like, he's going to be so good. I think that he just has the perfect fantasy running back skill set. And like Angel said, one of my biggest lessons I learned from fantasy this year was talent over opportunity sometimes for rookie drafts and stuff like that. Because I had Deandre Swift as my RB1 coming out. I had him over Jonathan Taylor slightly as far as pure talent goes. Just because, like Angel said, he prefers a powerful running back. I prefer a guy who can be a 3-down skill set back. I like a guy who can be a little shifty and catch the ball and stay on the field all 3 downs and potentially just like run the offense through you. I love that kind of guy for fantasy because he has like the RB1 potential, which I like. I look for that kind of skill set like Deandre Swift has, and he's proven it on the NFL field that he can absolutely be that guy, and I really like his outlook moving forward.
For sure. All right, Luke, do you want to take us into Antonio Gibson since you're the Antonio Gibson stand? Do you want to defend your title?
I would love to. I would love to take us into Antonio Gibson. So Antonio Gibson, kind of like DeAndre Swift, he has the 3-down back skill set. I think he has a true RB1 ceiling. Once they get a competent quarterback in there for Washington, I think he has an amazing fantasy outlook and profile. If they just gave him the freaking reception work that they're giving J.D. McKissick, Antonio Gibson would be like setting the world ablaze for fantasy football.
Yeah.
Like seriously, if McKissick wasn't there this season, he would be like a top 5 guy probably by the end of the year. Because like he was literally like mostly a wide receiver at Memphis anyway. Like he didn't really even carry the ball that much at all. So we all know he can definitely catch the ball. So if you give Antonio Gibson the passing work and the running work, dude, he's gonna be a stud. He already like had a ton of touchdowns this past season. I also just love watching him play. Like I know I'm like a big Antonio Gibson guy, but like every time like I'm like watching NFL Red Zone and he scores a touchdown, like I could like do backflips. Like I love that man so much. Anyway, Antonio, if you're listening, I love you. There's my Colin Mooney shrine up there. Former NFL running back Colin Mooney. Shout out Colin Mooney, the coolest fantasy guy of all time. But Antonio, if you want to give me signed gloves and a picture that says I'm the man like Colin Mooney did, I would definitely will not say no. I actually DM'd him on Twitter the other day and he did not reply. So sad.
That's so sad.
I basically just DM'd him and was like, I love you. Anyway. No, I didn't just say that, but I just like told him how much I like him for fantasy and stuff, which is weird. But anyway,
did he read it?
I love Antonio Gibson. Huh?
Did he read it?
I didn't say he did, so probably not. Oh. But yeah, I love Antonio Gibson. I just think he's such a fun player. And that offense, once they get a good quarterback, will be lights out, especially for Gibson in fantasy football. If they just give him more receptions and the same like carries that he got this past season with the same efficiency, he will like set the world on fire next season, and I'm here for it.
Hell yeah.
Angel,
do you want to follow up Antonio, or do you want me to chime in here?
I just have a couple of things to say about Antonio. I feel like Luke said it all. I'm going to just go ahead and say I was not that high on him going into the season.
Well,
I'm a doofus. I don't
think anyone was really. I mean, he was more of like a diamond in the rough kind of guy.
I know one guy who was really in on him, and he was right. So shout out Hunter New.
Oh, Hunter, friend of the podcast.
So
I am a doofus. I apologize to Antonio Gibson. Antonio, you should definitely
apologize.
You should definitely send my man a signed glove, or shirt or something. Cause
send me a signed anything. I'll take a signed napkin that you use. I don't care. I don't care if there's like a barbecue sauce stain on it from your face or something. Just like sign it and I'll take it. I'll get it framed, man.
This man needs something autographed by you. So if you want to go ahead and do that, I know you're listening, Antonio. So you should do that. That's really all I got to say about Antonio Gibson. I just love how into Luke is, because now I'm into him purely because Luke is so excited about him. So Alex, what do you have to say?
I mean, I didn't write that much about Antonio here because there's already so much that's been said good about him. I don't have anything bad to say about him. I love him almost as much as Luke does, maybe more. That's to be debated.
Not allowed.
But yeah, what I like about Gibson this year is I'm pretty sure I'm almost 100% sure that McKissick is a free agent. And if he vacates his 110 targets, 110 targets would be vacated for Antonio Gibson if he leaves. So that's like, is this guy going to be Christian McCaffrey? It's definitely possible if they don't like completely fuck him over by being like, yeah, we need McKissick back for 5 years.
I just wanted to say real quick, guys, I have the receipts pulled up right here on my screen from the slides presentation I made on September 8th of 2020, calling Antonio Gibson my sleeper pick for the season. I said one thing: cheap price for extremely high opportunity. Excellent advice. Excellent advice to me in the past.
That is a good prediction.
Yeah.
I also, on the same slide, I also have Bryan Edwards on there, so we can ignore that. But
we don't need to. See, you didn't have to tell the people that. They could have just thought you were a genius.
They already know that from episode 1.
Yeah, the people know. The people know I'm a genius.
The people know.
People know.
Can I just say one more thing about Antonio Gibson?
Go for it. Please do.
Oh, no. Wow. The leader of the... See, now we know who likes Antonio Gibson more, because Alex was all for it.
No, keep going.
I am currently considering sending Alvin Kamara for a package that involves Antonio Gibson. So if I do that, I might have to do that before the podcast.
What would it be? Don't be stupid, Angel. What is it?
Getting Gibson back in a wide receiver.
Who's the wide receiver?
He's got DJ Chark, which I'm about, but I might have to.
I know this guy. I know this team, Angel.
You do know this guy. That's why I might have to do it before the podcast releases.
I don't know. Alex, what do you think about that? I don't know. I think I would still have the Kamara side there.
Considering the guy whose team he's talking about is our friend, Mike Davern.
Hi, Michael.
I don't know if Mike Davern is going to do that. Mike Davern he's a trade stickler. I don't know if he's going to do that.
I feel like he'll just be like, "Oh, Dalvin and Alvin. Oh my gosh, yes," and then he'll get him. That was not my best Mike Davern impression.
That was a rude Mike Davern impression. That's Mike Davern.
That was gross. Mike Davern.
Wow, Davern. He just said your voice is gross. That's a rough
Mike Davern.
But
who's next?
You know who else I traded to Mike Davern last season? James Robinson.
Wait a minute, Angel.
No, I don't. Do we have to? Fine. Okay, we can talk about.
What do you mean? Do we have to?
We can
skip Cam Akers.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm taking this right away. Angel, shut up. Cam Akers is delicious. He's an excellent fantasy option going forward. I was one of the people who was actually patient on Cam Akers this season. I think I said that in the first show. I don't really remember. Cam Akers, a lot of people were jumping ship for him because Darrell Henderson was in the way. Like, ooh, Darrell Henderson, so scary. And Cam Akers came out like I thought he was going to towards the back end. Once they actually started feeding him the ball, he started lighting up the field, and he's going to be really, really good next year. He's going to be one of the running backs I'm targeting all over the place in redraft leagues this season because I feel like he'll probably be a second-round guy, and I feel like he'll be an amazing value to pair with a really good wide receiver in round 1.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. I think you nailed it right there. Angel, do you want to talk about Cam Akers first, or do you want me to go?
All I'll say about Cam Akers is he destroyed my Patriots on Thursday Night Football and ended our season.
Don't be salty. Don't be salty.
I have nothing to say about this man. I have nothing to say to him, besides the fact that he is very, very good. A lot better than I thought he was. And I was wrong about him last season. So
you thought he was bad? You thought he was bad?
I didn't think he was bad, but I definitely didn't think that he was worth like a late first-round pick. I thought he was like a mid-second-round draft pick in rookie drafts. I wasn't that high on him. I really thought that Darrell Henderson would be a lot better than he was, which is
wait. Don't tell me you were drafting. Don't tell me you had Keyshawn Vaughn over Cam Akers in rookie draft season, Angel.
I didn't have Keyshawn Vaughn, and no, I wasn't in on him at all. So, but I wasn't that in on Cam Akers either. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about Cam Akers. He's really good. He's probably in terms of rookie running back class, my RB5 heading into next season. I really like him. And like I said, I'll forever have that memory of him destroying my Patriots on Thursday Night Football to accompany me forever. I'm traumatized by that, clearly. Alex, do you go?
I mean, I'm there with you with that game. That game was tough to watch. I was already out on the Patriots for that season because I was like, okay, they're done. But then I watched that game because I was like, oh no, Cam Akers killed us. Like it was like, oh. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I like Cam Akers. I liked him the whole season. But coming into the season, I liked him as a rookie prospect just because at Florida State, he played really well despite playing behind like the worst offensive line, like legitimately the worst offensive line in college football, like ranked worst, the worst
Yeah, that
offensive
that
line.
O line was literally a bunch of like moving garbage cans. Like they were terrible.
They didn't even have wheels on them, honestly. They just were garbage
Yeah,
cans.
not even wheels on the garbage cans. They were just like standing garbage cans, and Cam Akers just had to like run around them.
But yeah, I liked him coming in. He got off to a rough start with the Rams. I think he had a rib injury during the like first half of the season too. And I was
Yeah,
like,
he
oh,
did. He
maybe
was banged up.
yeah, like I was like, I mean, I'm not out on him, but I'm also like a little disappointed. And then he came on like super strong in the second half. And I liked what I saw from him. He's a very complete back. But I feel like Luke, you might be discounting Darrell Henderson a little bit too much because he played really well in the first half of the season.
No.
All right, that's fair. But don't forget, Darrell Henderson has the NCAA record for most yards per attempt in a season.
Okay, Johnny Manziel won a Heisman Trophy. Your point?
So so you might as well just say Joe Burrow won a Heisman, and Joe Burrow's stats don't
Well,
count
Joe
in
Burrow
college.
and Johnny Manziel are very different. I'm just saying. Okay, I don't hate Darrell Henderson that much. I really just think that Cam Akers has the keys to the backfield now. I think he's like the guy.
I would agree, but here's the thing. I think they're going to use both of them next year because the Rams really like to ride the hot hand. They like to rotate backs too. I remember McVay coming out and being like, yeah, we're going to do the 49ers thing. And
Yeah, he
I
did.
expect them to do it.
They did that a ton of the year, but like towards the back end when Cam Akers got going, they did not look back though. Like there was not a single game after that point where they did not give Akers the majority of the carries.
You
That's
know who
called
did
riding
get a
the hot
majority of the
hand.
carries though?
Who's
Who?
that?
James Robinson,
Oh,
my
you
man.
hijacked it. I was going to say more about Cam Akers, but fine. Okay, just
We can save it.
We'll talk about James Robinson. I don't care anymore.
I'm so
Fuck you.
sorry I stole your Cam
Get
Akers.
it moving. Get it moving.
But James Robinson really blew all of us out of the water last year. I would say he was probably the breakout rookie of the year, given his draft capital and what he did in that awful offense. I think he's going to get a boost in value with Trevor Lawrence coming to Jacksonville, but I'm really just impressed with what he did with his opportunities because there's one, as we talked about, talent over opportunity. I think most of us can agree with that.
Yes.
But he had an 85.2% opportunity share, which isn't sustainable, to be fair.
No.
But he also had lots of evaded tackles. He had a high juke rate, and that was with a very inefficient offensive line and Gardner Minshew and others at quarterback.
Hey, don't diss my boy Gardner Minshew.
We've talked about Gardner. He knows we love him. He's a friend of the podcast, obviously. But if his offensive line improves and no other running back is drafted, the sky's the limit for James Robinson, I think. I flip-flop on him purely because of the draft capital. And if the draft capital is the only thing that has me going away from him, I feel like I should be in on him. So is he replaceable? Yes, but he can also be viewed as an asset at the running back position. Think about it. Yeah. Leonard Fournette was drafted in the first round, had that work out for them. James Robinson, later rounds, maybe it'll be the exact opposite. Who knows? But that's how I feel about James Robinson. How do you guys feel about him?
Yeah, I like him. I feel like he's talented. My problem with James Robinson is that, like you said, he had an 85.2% opportunity share this year, and it's very unsustainable. I think that we saw the ceiling. I think this is the best fantasy season we will see from James Robinson's career, his rookie season, unfortunately. I don't think he's ever going to finish higher than he did this year just because the opportunity share was so high, and he was pretty good with it. I just don't think he'll ever see that much like workload ever again. So I think, like, unfortunately, like, that was his ceiling. So I'm kind of cold on James Robinson. I like him for sure. I feel like he'll be a value in redraft leagues this year for sure once again. But like in Dynasty, I don't like him that much just because I feel like he's super replaceable.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just have I'm just going to go quickly through James Robinson.
Yeah.
I just feel like he definitely benefited from the Jaguars being like, we got to take the ball out of the quarterback's hands and just give it to this guy. And I think that's most of his production. They're just like, just don't turn the ball over. Just we'll give you the ball. Like, just move, give us 5 yards. Like, just push the ball. And I don't know if that's going to be the case with Trevor Lawrence, who's actually like a weapon. But yeah, that brings us to J.K. Dobbins, the last of the big running backs to touch on.
Oh, J.K.
I got in trouble for J.K. Dobbins earlier in the season because I said in an article he looked pretty unimpressive in the beginning of the year, which was kind of true. I didn't think he looked that good. And I said Gus Edwards was outplaying him, which could be argued. I don't know.
Shut your mouth, Alex.
I thought he was, if you were watching these Ravens games, I don't know. Gus Edwards is getting more carries. He was pushing the ball more, averaging more yards per carry. I'm just saying. But then, J.K. Dobbins was better than Gus Edwards. Like he should have been the whole time.
Alex.
I knew he was a better player. I was never like, oh, J.K. Dobbins is worse than Gus Edwards. I was like, he's playing worse than Gus Edwards. He should be playing better. He's the best running back on this team by far. And I mean, eventually he did figure that part out. The only thing that concerns me, I'm glad they got rid of Mark Ingram because, that clears up some room for him next year. But I just don't know about the receiving volume he's going to see because I feel like the Ravens offense doesn't really do that a ton, and that could hold him back in PPR leagues. What do you think, Luke?
Luke, are you there?
Oh, sorry. It froze for me for a second. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. So for J.K. Dobbins, I feel like he has another really good potential season next season. I think that since Mark Ingram's gone, the only thing that could possibly be a bit of a pest for him is Gus Edwards taking away goal line carries, which could be a bit of an issue, taking a chunk out of his ceiling a little bit potentially. But I think that Dobbins is an exceptional talent. I had him as my RB3 coming out last season. But he was like my favorite running back, like in my heart. Like I love J.K. Dobbins. I wanted the Steelers to draft him so bad. Like if you go back to my Twitter from last season, from draft night, I tweeted like on draft day, I was like, today is the day J.K. Dobbins becomes a Pittsburgh Steeler. Like I wanted him so bad. Like I literally was rolling around on the ground screaming, like waiting for him to fall because like the Bucks picked like right before them. I remember in the second round, and I was like, oh, they're gonna take Dobbins. I know it. They're gonna take him, and they did. And I was like, oh, we're on the clock. Dobbins is there. Take Dobbins, please. And they took Claypool, which obviously I'm not too upset about.
Well.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well.
That worked out well.
But
yeah.
I like J.K. Dobbins a lot, though. Is what I'm trying to say. I think he's gonna be an excellent running back moving forward.
Yeah, I think you guys hit it on the head. He is actually my favorite second-year running back. I like him over Taylor. I like him over Deandre Swift. And I really think that he's going to be an RB1. The run-pass option fits perfectly with his play style. Nah. I don't care what you say, Luke. He's the RB1 in my heart. Okay.
You think he's going to fit? You too? Wait, okay, so sorry. I have to understand this more. So you think that next season he's going to finish higher than Taylor and Swift?
I do, yes.
Can we bet money on this?
I will bet money with you on this.
Excellent.
I'll bet you $5.
I'll take that bet.
All right, sounds good. And PPR, right?
That take. I hate it.
Absolutely. I absolutely think that Swift or Taylor will finish higher than J.K. Dobbins.
Well, you gotta
I think
pick
they probably
one. You
both
can't say both. Pick one that you think will finish higher than Dobbins.
I'll take Jonathan Taylor.
Okay, sounds good. In PPR leagues, you heard it here first. Luke, Sawhook, and Angel have made a bet. The social media guru versus, oh crap, I don't have a nickname.
Is this barring injury?
This is barring injury. If injuries happen, we can just squash the deal.
Excellent.
Or
There's
we can
no way I'm losing this.
You can you guys can't blame me for having the same takes as other people. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by my two co-hosts.
Don't care.
He's definitely the best running back in Baltimore. Gus Edwards is only a restricted free agent, which means he'll probably be back because I don't see anyone breaking the bank for Gus Edwards. But, I mean, just to keep it short, he had a 5.4 yards per carry, 6.3 yards per touch, and 11 breakaway runs. He's a stud when he has the ball, whether it's in the passing game or run pass option. I think he'll succeed. I think he'll get a lot more carries next year than he did this year, and I think he'll be I think he'll finish top 6 among running backs.
Perfect.
And that's
all right, let's go a little bit of a rapid fire here to wrap things up. Angel, why don't you take turns hitting on some guys?
How about we do this? How about we just say the name of the running back and we say one sentence that we think of when it comes to them? How's that sound?
Excellent.
That works.
Beautiful. All right.
It's like an abstract art.
Abstract art. I've never been an artist, but I'll try my best. All right. I can start off. Zach Moss. Bad.
Whoa.
Wow. I'll go next, I guess. Zach Moss, decent, but will never get his chance to fully get a workload.
All right. Zach Moss. Let me think. Okay. Zach Moss. I'd rather have him than Devin Singletary.
That's fair. All right.
I agree with that.
A.J. Dillon, the future of the Green Bay Packers backfield.
For me, it is an absolute value.
I think mine is hands made of poo.
What about his quads, though, Alex? His quads are made of steel and tree trunks.
Steel quads, poo hands.
Oh,
Perfect.
Perfect.
I'd wear that on a t-shirt. It's like a picture of AJ Dillon on the back. It says steel quads, poop hands.
Oh, don't give away our marketing ideas.
That'd be kind of funny. Like the picture, like the front of the t-shirt's like a picture of AJ Dillon on the back, like, and it says like poo hands, and it, like the font looks like poop, and then like it says like steel quads, and it looks like steel.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
perfect. If
moving
you're
on.
Ideas.
If you're a designer out there and you would like to work on this clearly great idea, you can go ahead and DM us on @3CoSports on Twitter. All right. Keyshawn Vaughn, the worst running back in this class.
Wow, I don't agree with that, but maybe the worst running back on this show sheet. Keyshawn Vaughn, for me, it is he'll never get the chance. I don't think. I think he's always just going to be a backup.
Keyshawn Vaughn, I'd say solid back who got buried.
Yeah, I agree with that, Alex. He's just a guy who isn't bad, but he's just never going to get the chance to shine.
Maybe when Fournette leaves, we'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. DJ Dallas. RB1 in Seattle? Question mark.
My sentence for DJ Dallas is not the RB1 in Seattle. So no, I actually just think he's kind of overrated. I like him a lot. He seems like a nice guy on Twitter and stuff, but I just don't think he's as good as everyone thinks he is.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a sentence on my show doc. My show doc, Angel.
Excellent.
I'm going to read off the show doc.
Don't read off the show doc.
I'm going to read off the show doc.
Oh, no.
Don't do it.
Good receiving back who needs to be better between the tackles.
I absolutely agree with that.
And then in brackets after that, I would put to play more in Seattle. Period.
Excellent. Thank you, Alex.
Close bracket. Perfect. All right. Anthony McFarland Jr. Never going to get the chance to do anything.
For me, it is, as a Steelers fan, I've seen a good bit of Anthony McFarland. I think it shows flashes at times, but not consistent enough to get the job.
For Anthony McFarland, I'll say poor man's Darrell Henderson.
Hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. He kind of has yeah, I can feel that. All right, Angel, next guy.
Want to wrap? Ready, guys? You guys ready to wrap it up? Josh Kelly. Meh.
Yeah, for me, it's like meh as well. That's kind of how he feels. He's very like lukewarm.
He's just meh. I have no feelings about him.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'm trying to think of the sentence to most what's the most succinct way of saying
meh?
I want to say meh, but I liked Josh Kelly at one point.
He's like McDonald's French fries, but they've like been sitting on the counter for like half an hour. Like they're edible, but they really aren't good.
It's like I'm thinking.
There you go.
The peanut butter crackers is what I think of when I think of him. Like that's gonna feed you, but it's not gonna be very good, and you're not gonna go back.
I like peanut butter crackers.
You're gonna like eat peanut butter crackers like because you want to though, or are you just gonna eat them because you have to eat and they're there?
If there's a snack around and peanut butter crackers are like one of my few choices, I will eat peanut butter crackers and I will enjoy them. Thank you very much.
That's a bad take, Luke. That's
peanut butter crackers are good. I'm putting a poll on Twitter right now. Are peanut butter crackers good? Yes or no?
All right, Mr. Green Bean Casserole.
Green bean casserole is excellent. I will leave the podcast if you guys think green bean casserole is bad. It's the greatest.
You can't leave the podcast yet.
Food of all time. No, I'm saying forever.
No, not forever.
Forever. If there's not green bean, give me green bean casserole or give me death.
But Luke, I have so many questions. for you in particular. If you left, I would never be able to ask you
It's a
where I
joke,
can
Angel.
invest in players.
Oh, well, you can invest in players over on PredictionStrike.com, one of the best
okay.
websites on the internet right now. It's like the stock market and DraftKings had a child. It is a beautiful website. You can go on and invest in players using your real money at PredictionStrike.com, and the players' stock rise or lowers. I don't know. They either rise or go down based off their fantasy performance and based off buying and selling like the real stock market. They're in the offseason right now for the NFL. It moves all based off buying and selling, so you can really put some hype into a guy on Twitter maybe and go buy shares of him while the stock is low. For example, if you bought shares of Antonio Gibson last season before the hype took off, oh baby, you'd be rich. But just for an example of how much money you can make on Prediction Strike, though, doing good investing, LaMelo Ball's stock has gone up over 300% since the NBA season started, which is insane. That's more than any stock on the market right now. So definitely go over to PredictionStrike.com and check it out and use our promo code 3CO to get 50% of your first deposit back.
Beautiful.
All right, now you can leave the podcast if you so wish. Now that I know.
I think I'll stay.
Okay.
Thanks,
I mean, if you want to, I guess
He's
it's
got
okay.
a story to tell. We got to hear his story.
Yeah, we have stories.
Oh, yeah, we do have stories. Alex, I feel like we need to start off with you purely because the people have been wondering what's been going on since we started the podcast. So please, tell us the story.
Dude, my story sucks. It's just me being bad at Madden, and it put me in a bad mood.
Yeah, honestly.
I was getting worked by the computer on All Pros. Embarrassing, and I'm mad to be thinking about it again. And after this podcast ends, I don't know if I'm going to play Madden again for the rest of the day.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not in a good state of mind right now. It really like shook me. Maybe I should just not be playing as the New York Giants. That's probably what it was.
It's probably what it was.
Is it Daniel Jones?
Yeah, it's Daniel Jones.
Oof. Steffi Smalls ain't going to be happy about that one.
Yeah, sorry.
Nope.
I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. Yeah, that's the end of my story. That's it.
Thank you for that story, Alex.
Was it even?
I can tell my story. I can tell my story next, Angel, because I know you're gonna really want to get into yours. Angel's really gonna go for his, so I'll go next. So my story is about Jalen Hurts. I'm becoming a Jalen Hurts truther. I really want Jalen Hurts to be the starting quarterback for the Eagles next season because I feel like it'll be a lot of fun for fantasy and just to watch. I also think he deserves a chance. Give Jalen Hurts a shot. But I tweeted out the other day, if the Eagles draft a quarterback at number 6 overall, I will eat spicy things on the internet. Just for fun. So I decided that I will do the Blazing Wings challenge from Buffalo Wild Wings if the Eagles draft a quarterback at number 6, just to punish myself because I'm that emotionally invested in it. And I tweeted if anyone else wanted to join me. And some Canadian friends of ours from the fantasy Twitter world have joined it and said that they will chug a bottle of maple syrup if that happens. And then a couple other people joined in and said they would also eat wings with me, the Blazing Wings, if they draft a quarterback at 6. So I think there's about like 10 people involved in this bet now that if the Eagles draft a quarterback at number 6 overall, we will all do dumb shit on the internet. So make sure you look out on draft night. If the Eagles draft a quarterback at number 6, I will get the spiciest wings that Buffalo Wild Wings sells and eat them on a live stream. So make sure you look out for that.
I feel like now I need to get Matt McCoy hired as the GM of the Eagles so that he'll draft Zach Wilson at number 6 overall just to see all this madness happen. Please, Eagles GM.
Dude, I mean, just a quick sidebar. I think it makes sense if the Eagles wanted to draft a quarterback at 6 if a good one was there. But I don't think they should, just because I feel like Jalen Hurts deserves a chance. Like if Jalen Hurts played pretty good football for you in the back half of the season, and I think it would be a slap in the face to him if you don't give him a shot. I also think it just makes more sense for him to draft a wide receiver. They need a wide receiver really badly.
That's fair.
100% agree. I agree with that.
100%. Yeah, I agree as well. 100%, Alex?
100, like 100. 100.
Okay.
100.
Just making sure. Well, you know who got 100% scammed? This guy.
You know whose fault it was?
Yours. I know. Let me tell my fucking story, Luke.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
So, this is a story of how I scammed myself on a Twitter trade. You see, the story starts as most stories do, on my sleeper notifications, like at 11 p.m. I was ready to go to bed when I saw a trade offer from a gentleman named Dallas, a friend of the podcast.
Hi, Dallas.
Hi, Dallas. What's up?
Hi,
You're smarter than
Dallas.
me. All right. As I was saying, Dallas slid into my sleeper trade notifications, and he offered a trade that was so bad that I was hurt. I was just shocked that he would try and think so little of me. Alice is grabbing Walter right now because the story is so scary.
Yeah, it
He
is
needs
scary.
comfort.
I gotta coddle him.
Good old coddling.
So this offer is a pick on the block offer. If you know, you know.
Oh my
So
god.
I wasn't even thinking about it. I just declined. And then he sends me a more reasonable offer. And I just leave it there. And he just keeps tagging me in the sleeper chat at Angel, whatever my name is, trade. And I'm just like, I don't want to trade T. Higgins. Like, and if you've been in the league with me, you know, I don't like doing off-season trades like before May because there's still so much information that I need to figure out and that I need to look up before I decide who I'm in or out on most players. So I just really didn't want to trade T. Higgins. So I was like, okay, let me just reply with an offer that's really bad for him so that he gets the idea. And I do. And he counters. And I'm just like, ugh, I really don't want to trade T. Higgins, but I don't want to be that bad league teammate or that bad league mate that just doesn't reply. So I outsmarted myself. I figured if I send him an actually reasonable offer, he'll definitely decline it because he just wants to scam me out of T. Higgins. I actually it didn't work out for me. I scammed myself out of T. Higgins because he accepted without a hesitation. Like I didn't even realize he accepted it. I logged on and I saw that T. Higgins was no longer on my roster, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Why?
As soon as I saw that trade go through, I tagged Angel in the chat. I'm like, dude, are you on bath salts? Like, what's wrong with you?
I was not, but clearly I was on something else. All I'll say is, Dallas, you are a smarter man than me. You out-negotiated me, and you ran laps around me as I saw my T. Higgins slip away from my fingers forever. I hope you treat him right. I hope you treat him well. And I also hope that he never finishes as more than wide receiver 3 for the rest of his career. That is all. Thank you. And good night.
Damn.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, okay, are we going to bed now?
I could be down for that. I'm down. I woke up at like 6 today. I'll go to bed.
I woke up at noon today. I'm exhausted.
Damn.
You woke up at noon? Oh,
I stayed up until 3 a.m. playing the Pokemon card game online, my guy.
Oh, right. Yeah. I'm gonna face Luke in a Pokemon battle at some point.
I will absolutely destroy you, Angel.
You say that about everything. So I'm starting to not believe you when you say that.
No, I'm kidding. I know like nothing about the Pokemon game. I literally just started playing it, but it is really fun.
So if we had to recap our story times, it would be the Dallas is smarter than Angel. Jalen Hurts should be the starting quarterback, and if not, Luke will be in pain. Yes. And fuck Madden.
Yeah, fuck Madden.
Yeah, EA Sports. You're the worst.
I can get behind that. We should get that trending.
Dude, EA is actually... Okay, quick sidebar before getting that. EA Sports is the worst company ever.
Oh, we don't want to... Let's not burn this bridge yet. We might get a... Oh, never mind. It's too late. Fuck EA Sports.
No, I don't care. Dude, EA Sports sucks, man. They pull in billions of dollars and straight revenue from their digital packs and Ultimate Team, which is literally gambling for like 13-year-olds. And they get away with it somehow. And they make billions of dollars to release a slightly enhanced version of the same product every year. It's ridiculous. Well, that's all.
I feel like now if we ever get a call from EA Sports saying, "Hey, do you guys want to like try out our game?" We have to say no.
Well, with that being said, Angel, I also love them because Madden is my favorite sports game every year. So I love their company, but at the same time, they suck. So I would happily work with them, but they also are greedy, and I hate them. So that's that.
Well, now that we have all that said. We want to thank you very much for listening to the third episode of the 3CoSports podcast. If you want to support 3Co Pod, please make sure to subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcasts from. Once again, we thank you very much for listening, and we hope you'll join us on Thursday. As Alex, what are we discussing? Remind me.
We're talking about what are we talking about?
Rookie
running
running
backs. Rookie running backs for the 2021 NFL Draft. That's
what an exciting episode, Luke. Good job. All right, thank you all very much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
On Thursday.
Oh yeah, Thursday.